The name HAS is Heating and Air Conditioning Services. Fairly plain and simple about what we do, all heating, air conditioning. It's quite often shrunk to the words HAS just because it's so long to talk about. The business has been around for over 8 years now, with half a dozen fully qualified staff helping back up the service that we provide. Residentially, the main products we specialise in are the Daikin product. We've been dealing with Daikin since 1993, and a lot of the staff involved with me have been dealing with it since the mid-90s as well. We mainly specialise in the Daikin because it is very good for our ambient conditions and basically our weather that it has to operate in. Very, very reliable and gives very good efficiencies. The Daikin product has been in New Zealand since '93. It is well known as a very good product and has been the country's #1 product for a very long time. It gives us very good efficiencies in heating, is very well rated and probably the best on the market at running it in cold ambient conditions. They're similar to what we have around Dunedin and Central Otago. And it basically gives us no issues, and no issues for us is a great factor. So whether it's in a rental environment or your own home, your floor mount units or your high wall units are really designed to what you're trying to achieve. A floor mount unit senses at floor level, so it's really good for sensing multiple rooms when all the doors are open to that large volume of cold air, and will sit away and tick in that volume. It just draws cold air in the front and blows the hot air out the top and naturally circulates the heat. A high wall unit's mainly positioned for one general room because it just senses at the ceiling height as to what's going on in that space it's in. It blows its hot air into the ground, stirs up the cold air and circulates around. Your only issues with your high walls is you've just got to be a bit more critical of where you place them so no one's going to be sitting in the drafts around underneath them. Heat pumps are very efficient based on what's going on in the mechanics, but generally if you looked at an electric heater, it uses 1 kilowatt of electricity to provide 1 kilowatt of heating. A heat pump nowadays uses 1 kilowatt of electricity to produce 4 kilowatts of heating. So if you work that backwards, you're really getting a kilowatt of heating for 5 cents, which is by far the cheapest thing on the market, apart from chopping your own firewood. A lot of the myth around is that you have to let it run all day long. In reality, if your heat pump is in your lounge and it's just for heating your lounge, then you may as well just have it turn on 20 minutes before you go into the lounge in the morning. There's no point running it for 10 hours of the night when no one's in the room, when you can heat that room up in 10 minutes just in the morning. If you are using your heat pump in the middle of your house to actually heat the core of your house and let the heat flow into all the rooms off it, then that actually takes several hours for that volume of heat to get through those rooms. So from that point of view, you're better off turning your unit down low and letting it tick away to maintain that temperature through the core of your house. Landlords in general seem to be putting a lot of heat pumps in, mainly because the tenants know so much about them nowadays and are looking for them when they're going into that rental property. The landlords generally putting in high wall units, slightly cheaper to install and more out of the way and less likely to have any abuse, etc. going on. As far as servicing of them goes, generally for a landlord, if it's a university type property, we will go in at the end of each year when there's no one in it, give it a full spring clean, tidy up, and he knows it's the next tenant's responsibility for the following year. So Heating and Air Conditioning Services is based at 26 McBride Street, right in the middle of South Dunedin. The doors are open from 8 in the morning to 5 at night, and anyone is welcome to come in and see us. Whether they're just bringing a remote in because they have issues on controlling the system, or whether they're bringing in their full concept, new plans, and they need a full design, heating and ventilation solutions to cope with their new needs. Yeah, so the staff at Heating and Air Conditioning Services have been with us for quite a long time. Most of the staff have actually been with us before the company was even formed 8 years ago. And the staff are qualified engineers, all in their own field. I've been refrigeration engineers, electricians, electrical fitters and fitters. So their knowledge of the product, dating back with most of the staff from 1997, is very knowledgeable. They have a lot of experience within the industry and within the domestic heat pump market. Our association with Click started actually quite a while before Click was formed, back with Andrew Elliott. As Andrew himself was growing up his own rental portfolio and his own properties, we were installing heat pumps for Andrew back in the early days. And that has followed right through now into Click Properties, and we have grown along with Andrew and Click over the time. And as we've grown, we've been able to offer better discounts back to the landlords based on the volume of units we've been doing.